Stu the Wine Guru, and welcome to my Wine 101, first installment, sipping wine. Today I'm going to show you exactly how to sip wine, and although it does sound kind of strange, most people would say, hey Stu, I know how to sip wine, I've got lips, I've got a mouth, I've got a glass of wine in front of me. However, it's a little bit more complicated than that, so let me show you. Essentially, you enjoy wine with all of your senses. You use your eyes to look at the wine and check the clarity and the color. You use your nose to sniff the wine, take in the bouquet and the aromas and the nose of the wine. Of course, you use your mouth to enjoy it. Swirl around your tongue, swallow for the finish, and see what impression the wine makes for you. So, having said all that, here's a scenario. You're a novice, new to wine. You go to a friend's house, or let's say you're at a restaurant, and there they are, and they're got their glass of wine, they're swirling the glass of wine, and they're looking at it in the light, and they're, again, sniffing and slurping and all that. What's that all about? Let me show you. Okay. So the first thing you want to do when you get a glass of wine is to aerate the wine. And what I mean by aerate is the following. Take your thumb and your two fingers and just swirl in the glass. Now you can go clockwise, counterclockwise, it's up to you. Okay. What you're doing is you're bringing air into the bowl of the glass. By doing that, you're bringing out, again, the aromas, the scents, everything that you're going to experience when you taste the wine. Okay. So now the next thing you want to do is just look at the wine and get an idea of the color, as I mentioned before, and clarity of the wine. The way you do that is kind of hold it up to the light, look at it, look in the glass of wine itself. What colors do you see? And again, the colors really are an indicator in some senses of the age of the wine. So an older wine that's been in oak casks for a long time, and or the bottle is a vintage, let's say 2000, 8-9 years or so, that's going to be more of a brick color, a reddish, brownish brick color. Whereas newer wines that are less aged, something that's been in the bottle for 2 years, it's going to be more of a blueberry or a more current color. In this case, this wine, which I happen to have here, is a Columbia Crest blend. It's a Meritage, as they call it. And it's Syrah, Cabernet Sauvignon, and Sangiovese, which is an Italian grape. This wine, like I'll show you, the best way to do this is to start with swirling. And then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to sniff the wine. And then you'll inhale. And then you'll remove the glass from your nose. And just try to think of the impression, what you're smelling, like this. Now this wine, I get a lot of fruit aroma. I get a little bit of currant, as I mentioned before, cranberry, some cherry, things of that nature. The next thing you want to do when you're sniffing is realize that your nose tires quickly, but it does recover quickly as well. So you want to do this process maybe twice. Okay, again. Okay. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to sip the wine. Okay. So if you remember, here's a technique. If you remember when you were a kid in grade school, maybe even earlier than that, let's say when you're first learning to whistle, you did what I'm calling the reverse whistle technique, and that is, instead of blowing out, puckering your lips and making a sound, you puckered your lips and brought air in. Now, mind you, you didn't get a whistle out of it, but in essence, that's the correct way of bringing air in when you're sipping wine. So I'll demonstrate. Now you notice after I did that, I did what looked to be a closed mouth gargle. And that's why you're trying to get the wine to all parts of your tongue. If you remember in grade school, you learned that your tongue has different receptors on it, taste receptors. Your taste buds taste different things, salt on one side, sweet on the other. Well, in wine tasting, you bring all the wine to all parts of your mouth. So by gargling it with your mouth closed, you're kind of moving it around, getting it to the different taste receptors to be able to tell things like acidity, fruit, sweetness. So, after doing so, now that you've done that, the next thing you're going to find in sipping wine is swallowing, of course. Now, in a wine tasting, you have the option to spit the wine as well, because you get basically the same idea or concept of the taste of the wine without actually having to swallow it. However, if you're swallowing the wine, you're going to get what we call the finish. The finish is the impression that the wine has left on your senses, on your mouth, your nose, and so forth. Some people will call it, let's say, a long finish. A long finish would be where you could actually still feel and taste the same fruit and, let's say, sweet or dry, whatever, on your tongue or in your mouth. Some people like that as a long finish. Some people like it short, where just the entry of the wine comes in, goes through the mid-palate of your mouth, you swallow it down your throat, and then it leaves. You get the impression. So I tell my customers, you can experience not even the same two wines in your whole life. Meaning you can taste wines your whole life and never really taste the same two wines, because it's that bountiful, that amount of wines and vineyards and wine-producing countries that are out there producing wine, enough for you to enjoy. So I always say to my clients, if it's time to pour the wine, it's time to stew the wine brewer. That's my installment for today. Come back again to my website or to YouTube and see any of the more that I have coming. Thanks again. Drink up.